The 2023 NL MVP race is absolutely historic. It's a four-man race between the right fielders and first basemen of the two best teams in the National League. Of course, Mookie Betts has played some second base as well this year. I have my pick for who the MVP would be if the season ended today, but it was not an easy pick to make, and it can absolutely change based on what happens in these final 2.5 weeks. I'm going to go through all four candidates and all their numbers, starting with Freddie Freeman. Freeman is interesting because no doubt this is a career year, but out of the four guys on this list, he's the one guy that you feel is putting up similar numbers to this each and every year. Freeman has the highest batting average of the bunch at .339, and his .416 on-base percentage is .01 ahead of Ronald Acuna Jr. So that's two critical categories in which Freeman absolutely flourishes. And his 7.2 WAR is actually second among the candidates, behind just Betts, who's at 8.0, Acuna is at 7.1. This said, Freeman is last among the four in slugging at .579, last in OPS at .995, last in home runs at 26, and last in RBIs at 93. It's definitely noteworthy that the big man can move 18 stolen bases this year for Freeman. Now, I'm going to make this very clear right now. Defense is not really going to factor into the debate because even though these are some very athletic guys, the defensive metrics don't really seem to favor any of them. They're all right around league average in OAA and DRS. So obviously Freeman deserves a spot in this video. As I told you, he leads some key categories. However, he's the one guy that I really can't see a case to actually win the award if the season ended right now. But hey, he certainly deserves the recognition here because there's still 2.5 weeks to go. If he explodes, then he's going to be right there. Next up, we'll talk about Matt Olson. Olson has by far the lowest batting average and on-base percentage of the four at .281 and .388. He also has the lowest FWAR at 6.0. But obviously Olson flourishes with the power this year. 51 home runs and 128 RBIs with still a few weeks of season to go. Now Olson has a 23.8 K percentage, which is by far the highest of anyone in this video. He does also have the highest walk rate though at 14.5%. He does only have one stolen base while all three others have double-digit stolen bases. All four of these guys are extremely close in OPS, and Matt Olson's right in the middle of that bunch at 1.006. His 163 WRC plus is the lowest of the four. So Olson's having such a special year power-wise, but realistically across the board, his numbers don't compare to the other three in a few different categories, so I don't think he's the guy. But again, if he absolutely torches it up in these final 2.5 weeks and hits 60 home runs on the year, then you gotta give him serious recognition. The crazy thing is, one of these four guys is not going to be an MVP finalist. I'm going to have to imagine it's going to be the best non-MVP finalist season of all time, that is, for whichever one doesn't make it. Next up, how about we talk about Mookie Betts. Mookie is flourishing in all realms this year. He has 39 home runs from the leadoff spot, 103 RBIs, and his batting average is over 300, his on-base is over 400. What doesn't this guy do on the field? Mookie Betts is slugging over 600. That's absolutely insane. He has the best OPS in the National League at 1.018. His 173 WRC plus also leads the bunch. So does his 8.0 FWAR. And while his DRS is just 3 and his OAA at -1, we have to look at the fact that he's been versatile for the Dodgers. They could throw him in right field, they can throw him in center if they ever need, and they've thrown him at second base quite often. There's a chance that the Dodgers' A lineup sees Mookie Betts playing second base in October. So obviously you should strongly consider thinking that Betts should get this award. Now let's talk about Ronald Acuna Jr. Now Acuna has received the most attention this year because of the dynamic duo of home runs and stolen base numbers that he's putting up. Last year Acuna came back from the torn ACL and was not nearly himself. He was actually barely above league average last year. So it's so nice to see that he immediately came right back to form this year and is having obviously the best year of his career. He's hitting .333 with a .415 on base, so it's him and Freddie Freeman that are absolutely dominating those two categories. 37 home runs and 97 RBIs out of the leadoff spot is unbelievable. Fangraphs has given him a 7.1 WAR, which trails Betts 8.0 and Freeman 7.2. I find that a bit interesting. I mean, I know we just talked about how unbelievable Freeman's numbers are, but what formula can you really use that suggests that Freeman is having the better season than Acuna Jr.? Because Acuna's stolen 65 bases. He's going to get to the absolutely unbelievable 40-70 mark. The most bags anyone stole in a season this century is Jacoby Ellsbury 2009 at exactly 70. So Acuna's going to steal more bases than anyone has this century in a season where he hits over 40 home runs. And casually hits .330 and drives in over 100 runs. Now I get it, we don't know exactly how many stolen bases he would have stolen this year if they didn't change the rules, but he's the one who's absolutely taken full advantage of the rule change. I find it really interesting that Mookie Betts has only stolen 11 bases in the first year with limited pickoff attempts and bigger bases. Look, I think this is really close, and I think things can change based on how these guys play in the last couple weeks. It's that close. I absolutely think it can change. However, right now, I gotta give it to Ronald Acuna Jr. I think my tiebreaker between Betts and Acuna is the stolen bases. Watch out for all four of them, though, because Olson can explode to 60 home runs, Freeman can hit over 340. If Mookie goes off, he can reach 45 home runs and a 10 F4. So Acuna is my guy, but all three of these other guys have a chance to reach some sort of crazy number that would give them very, very serious consideration to take the award from them. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. If you want more baseball content, it's coming, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. The content for this year's postseason is going to be absolutely amazing, so make sure you join the community so you don't miss out.